somebody that I know is interested, because somebody I didn't know I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Higher. How you doing? He's better. Yeah. You try, both last and get them done, so hard.
Yeah, exactly. Make a call.
Alright, yeah, so if I have to get them to do it yourself.
Yeah. I hate it too. When-
How's it?
Tremble's only got like 3 quarters.
I was talking to about yesterday, I was, I was at a chamber of commerce and, Jim Deason, hospitality folks next to him. So, I was saying, Gary's over there, Tim was standing right there. If you wanna keep the relationship, folks, go in there.
Yeah. Be ready now.
You're ready.
I know, it's too cold.
Some kind of manufacturing in there.
Traffic will is cold.
We've heard that or some sort of, or shipping.
I really do.
You know, yeah. Yeah. What I understand.
Pretty thank you. That is. Well, good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting. Excuse me, this KIPDA board meeting to order. Excuse me. Jared, if you call the roll, please.
Absolutely. Mr. Kevin Beatty.
Here.
Honorable Scott Bates. Let's see, Honorable Judge. Honorable John Black.
Here.
Honorable Bernard Bowling.
Here.
Honorable Byron Chapman. Honorable Jack Kaufman. Mr. Jack Couch.
Here.
Honorable Troy Ethington.
Here.
Mr. Chris John Streets for the Honorable Jeff Gahan. Honorable Nicole George for the Honorable Craig Greenberg. See,
Present.
the Deputy Mayor, thank you. Mr. Keith Griffey.
Here.
Honorable Treva Hodges. Honorable Dan Ison.
Here.
Honorable Maria Johnson.
Here.
Honorable Mike Moore. Honorable John Ogburn.
Here.
Honorable Carol Pike.
Here.
Honorable Jason Sharp. Honorable Jerry Summers. Here. Honorable Rick Tonini.
Here.
Honorable Jim Travis. Honorable Scott Travis.
Here.
And Mr. Voglass for the Honorable David Vogel.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Good deal. Thank you, Jared. And again, I'd like to welcome everybody to this meeting on a very lovely Kentucky day. At this time, I'd like to have approval of our comments from the February, board meeting of the KIPDA.
I'll say it, good.
You know, second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed? Thank you all. February financial statements, Frida?
Thank you. As of February 31st, or 28th, sorry. We were 67% through the fiscal year 26. If you can look on page 26, we're gonna go over the summary of the work elements. And the CED, we have a spend of 596,376. Under transportation, we have a spend of 1,962,329, which is 39.62%. As far as social services, we have a spend of 32,404,777 at an 80.08%. And then we have our other operating, which is 14,929 at 6.40%. And of course, our overall total expenses is 35,192,690. Okay, our next graph is on page 33, which is our agency-wide actual to budget comparison. And our current revenues are 5,613,415. Our year-to-date is 36,455,922. And of course, our budget this is our new budget that we revised last month or approved last month, was 48,841,402. And then that makes us at 74.64% of our revenue. In our expenses, we have 5,376,626. Our year-to-date, 35,192,620. And of course, our budget at 48,841,402. So our expenses are 72.05%. On page 37, we're looking at our balance sheet, just to give you an idea of where our cash is 4,484,300 at 22%. Our total receivables are 2,832,168 at 14%. And our total other assets are 2,960,267 at 14%. And our total liabilities and projects are 10,256,921 at 50%. Do we have any questions?
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
We need action on that. I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial report.
Motion to approve the financial report.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, like sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you, Frida. There
Thank you.
you go. March personnel report. Megan,
Afternoon, everyone.
good afternoon.
First, I'd like to welcome Mark Higgins, our new ADRC coordinator. I announced his hire at the last board meeting, but he's here now and crushing it. So I wanted to welcome Mark. We have an additional new hire. Frank Mays is going to be working as a home care assessor and case manager starting on Monday. We also have a new Michelle Key, labor case manager starting on Monday, but we hired her after I wrote this report. We have a transfer. Kelly Yurt is moving from ADRC specialist over to national caregiver coordinator. And then we had a handful of departures. Marie O'Brien as Michelle P. labor case manager, Amanda Davis as national caregiver coordinator, and Michelle Varner as Medicare waiver assistant. We've got quite a few vacancies. So if you guys know of anyone who's looking or would be a good fit for these jobs, we've got a Connect application counselor, a nutrition assessor, a care coordinator for the Veterans Directed Care Program. We're hiring for 2 of those. Medicare waiver program assistant, transportation planner 2. And then just today, I posted 3 more positions. We need 2 ADRC specialists, which is essentially an intake for our social services, and a connector who will be working in Trumbull, Henry, Oldham, and Carroll counties. So if you know any interested or qualified applicants, please send us. Our staff count is 79 full-time permanent, 2 part-time permanent, and 1 part-time temporary.
Okay. Any questions for Megan?
If those positions are not filled and they're vacant, but yet those folks were doing good things, how do you make up the difference on what they were doing and putting people in their places?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the position. Sometimes the work is spread out over the division. Other times we're just not providing, the level of service. I think it depends on the position, but it's tough. It's tough. And it's been really tough to find qualified candidates. So, like I said, if you guys know anyone, please holler.
Mayor Black, a lot of this falls actually on the supervisors. Amber in the back of the room has picked up caseloads when some of the service advisor leaves. So, like Megan said, it's just kind of shared responsibility, but it's really a heavy burden on the supervisors.
What about the pay scale in terms of tracking people?
Yeah, so our pay is okay. I think our pay is
It's okay.
okay. One thing I do when I post for positions is before I get into the job description, I lead with, we're a part of Kentucky Employees Health Plan. We're a part of the pension system. We have 24 paid days off. We have 13 paid holidays, free dental, free vision. So before you even start reading about the job, I try to sell the benefits, 7-hour workday. So, you know, when I talk to applicants pretty early on, you know, make sure they're okay with the salary. They also know what a great place it is to work too in terms of the benefits. So,
We're going through a pay classification study right now in
Yeah.
our city.
Yeah.
We've hired a third party to come in and do it for us, and it's pretty much enlightened us to some things as to, you know, fairness, of course, pretty much people, sometimes they like the health care and all the benefits, but what they're really looking for, how much you get paid every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting too, because sometimes, you know, somebody will hire for a position that's 42,000 and they'll say, well, I need to make 45. And I'll say, okay, well, talk to me about what you're paying out of pocket in health insurance premiums. You know, we can make up that difference in savings for different benefits and things.
Mhm.
I hear you though. Yeah, I hear you.
We have that struggle too.
Okay,
Yeah.
any other questions for Megan? Very good. I'll entertain a motion to accept Megan's report and her action with hiring the new folks. So moved. And a second. All in favor, like sign aye.
Aye.
Same opposed. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
We have a guest speaker today, somebody that I don't know a whole lot about, never been around him much, but an ex-county judge who is a good friend and who's done a great job with that districts in Frankfurt and pushing out our needs. And this is Casey Ellis, the executive director of Kentucky Council of Area Ads. Casey, welcome.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you all for having me. As Judge said, I'm Casey Ellis, Executive Director of the Kentucky Council and the Kentucky Association of District Directors, which is an association made up of Jarrett and his 14 other colleagues around the state. So as a former city council member, magistrate, and judge executive, it's really an honor and a pleasure that I have to be able to promote the organization that supported me so much during my tenure in those roles. And so I know how important the area development districts are to you and your communities and the work that we do across the state. So I think, did you put the handouts?
They're in the sleeves of everybody's.
There are a few things in there. Everything you see that we'll talk about today is produced by Molly Haynes, who's with me. She's our public information officer at the state level. And she has a tough job of making me look good with all this stuff. But a legislative update as it relates to the Kentucky Council and our efforts this year, really for the past 2 years since the last budget session. It's day 54 today. We have 5 more days counting today. Then teams can veto period days and then 2 days in April, 14th and 15th. You know, they have to adjourn by midnight, of course, on the 15th. Hopefully sooner. I'm praying for it to be over. It's most of you are too, I'm sure. Just real quickly, the first one is a legislative update. It's our legislative priorities. It's front and back. We'll just kind of go through these real quickly and we can talk about our efforts and where we stand. Although we don't know a whole lot. You know, the budget is in pre-conference now, and so a lot of the things that we hope will be in there, we won't know until we come out of committee. So first, the JFA funding. I think you know how vital JFA funding is to just kind of giving that baseline support to the technical assistance and economic development work that the area development districts do on your behalf. And we were advocating actually for 5.5 million, which is an increase from our current 3.987, which would be the first increase in the last 2 budget cycles, which was, there hadn't been an increase in, I think, probably 6 or 8 budget cycles prior to that. So we did a 30-year look back at what that funding level has been and took into consideration inflation. And the 5.5 would land us about at our second highest ever funding, which was in 1997 related to the inflationary act. ironically, while we're advocating for an increase in funding, the House budget, original House budget, House Bill 500 eliminated the flagging language, which guarantees that Department of Local Government will give us the money that is earmarked in their base amount. So, for instance, their base amount is around $12 million. In previous budgets, there's been flagging language that says 3.987 million is to be distributed to the area development districts. Without that flagging language, while that money might be in that base, there's no guarantee that DLG will fund us at that level. They don't have to, because it's in their general budget. And basically they can spend it however they need to. So if they have a gap or a cut in another program, they could easily take that. So we've gone from fighting for an increase to really fighting to make sure that language is back in there. Because without that language, it really puts us in a bad spot. And so part of that discussion and trying to have that, fight that fight of getting an increase, and again, making sure that we have that language in there, as you'll find on this next page, it's called your area development districts at work. This is a snapshot back to FY 25. And so if you just look at that 2,285 projects, from conception to completion, FY 25 managed in some manner, almost $5 billion of impact across, every city and county in the state of Kentucky. So the work is immense. It seems silly that we would have to argue and beg for $4 million to support $4 billion in work, but that's where we find ourselves. So next down the list on the legislative priorities is the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority. So as you know, we do GIS work and water planning for KIA, done the GIS mapping and a plethora of things. Our current contract across the whole state is only $987,000. So they're split across all 15 area development districts. So since the budget cycle 2 years ago, we did a little homework and we looked at what our actual costs were in all 15 ads to fulfill the obligations of the KIA contract. And we came up with the fact that it actually cost us $2.55 million to fulfill the contract obligations on a $987,000 contract. So we worked with Sandy Williams at KIA, and we had an agreement with her that she was going to put that request in her budget request, put that funding level in her budget request for this year until 2 weeks before session started, when she said she wasn't allowed to request an increase of her baseline budget. So that put us back on the offensive, having to work with our representatives. We started with A&R, Chairman Petrie and co-chairs Bray and Bowling, and they had the idea to really support us with this, kind of surprising, but to actually put language in the budget that would require us to report to KIA every year and require KIA to report to LRC what our actual costs were, to really get that conversation started about, hey, we need to increase this funding. That was placed in the House budget and House Bill 500 originally. As the committee sub from the Senate came out, that language was taken out. So in the past 3 weeks, we've been working with leadership on both sides to try to get that language put back in. But those are the kinds of things we're doing as we look across from budget cycle to budget cycle. What can we do to really show the effort and moving forward too? If we're successful with the KIA language and the reporting, we plan to also do the same thing with JFA. So to be able to show those legislators over time how underfunded the JFA program really is. And that just helps drive home the conversation and the increase for needs funding. Next on the list, senior meals. There is, I'm sorry, I feel that the next handout in your packet there, front and back, is just about House Bill 500 and the JFA language, what's needed. And just again, on the back is the actual language that has been in the budgets in previous years, and it's not in recent. Next on the list, senior meal program. I think you all remember the fiscal cliff that we faced last September when the cabinet suddenly couldn't find the money to support the program. There's $10 million in the base amount of that Department of Aging and Independent Living again, we're talking about the base amount in the budget as we did with the DOG base and the JFA funding. There's $10 million there, that's a carryover from the last budget, from the last 2-year budget. That's only half the funding that's needed. And so in House Bill 500, it was $10 million. In the Senate version, it actually decreased to 9.6 in the first year and 9.7 in the second year, or 9.3 in the second year. That is, that's a result of their standing 4% cut in the first year, 7% cut in the second year of what they're trying to do across the whole baseline budget of state government. So we have, that's what we were doing just when the meeting started, texting again, leadership in both the House and the Senate, just to let them know that if they don't fund that at the 19 to $20 million range, that we're gonna face that same fiscal cliff July 1st. And, you know, they're gonna be facing the same scrutiny that they threw at the governor and the cabinet last September. So we feel like it should take care of itself, but we're not leaving any stone unturned. On the back of that page is putting young Kentuckians to work. That initiative really is driven by our workforce folks. So, you know, the 10 workforce directors across the state, and they feel pretty confident that they may not get another $20 million to support that program, but they're going to get something and it should be reauthorized. Next is grant program. That this year is House Bill 647. That was filed by Senator McPherson, passed out of the House on March the 13th and sat idle in the Senate until yesterday, where it had a first reading. It's on the orders of the day for a second reading today. So all indications are that will move through the Senate in the next 2 or 3 days and be reauthorized. The reauthorization is not funded though. So we've in House Bill 900, which is the one-time spending bill, we anticipate seeing some level of funding to support that program. But we just got word yesterday that the $200 million that was funded for the last biennium, the last dollar was obligated for in March applications. So there's no more money between now and the end of the fiscal year to allocate to that any of your. We're looking for some match money between now and the end of the fiscal year. You're gonna have to hold on that. And then the KIPDA program, that initiative is really carried by KAED. That I think most of you have probably utilized that program in some manner in your community. It's a very vital program. Again, we feel pretty confident that reauthorization will happen. And it's yet to be seen how much it'll be funded. And that, of course, will come probably also in the one-time spending bill, House Bill 900. So those are really our initiatives. Now there's a page here about the senior meals, and this is the kind of information we've been given out. You know, over 3 million meals served in FY25, 16 on the 17,000 participants. I don't have to tell you how important it is and what kind of problem it creates when it's cut so drastically in immediate term. That's really all I have for my PowerPoint, and then of course I'd entertain any questions.
So what this day and time, what does the area development districts go to? Because I remember talking about this years ago, but what's your annual budget right now that you're working on for area development districts from your office standpoint?
And how much is
your budget? Yeah.
We're at about 225,000. It just funds myself and Molly. We're a 2-person team. Yeah.
Because I remember back in the day, Jack was the director here, we were trying to keep former governors to keep like $10 million in the, remember those days?
That was in the ADF fund.
I mean, what's that $10 million figure, what we were trying to do then, what's that number now?
That's zero. That's ADF fund, yeah. So that language is still that language has still been in the budget ever since it became unfunded. And I think the last year that was funded was 2018, maybe. It's been at least 3 or 4 budget cycles since. The language is still in there, but it's non-codifying and it has no dollar amount secured to it.
So.
But that was never used by the state office. That was a grant, that was funding that was granted through the 15 area development district to your community for specific projects.
Right, and what's that number today? Zero?
and has been since.
So where's that money come from now?
The program doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist anymore, huh?
So, I guess in reality, it requires you to go to the legislator and get a line item for a project instead of being able to apply through your area development district and get it.
Okay,
Is really what that result is.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, that program exists, it was pretty much zeroed out before a lot of the people at this table are in their office now, but it was really good for capital projects back in the day. It funded many things.
Yeah, we were
across our
just trying to keep 10 million there, but they were talking about cutting it from 10 million to say 8 million.
The amounts just kept, because you were able to do big projects and they just started getting smaller and smaller until at the end it was like buying a mower for the county park was about the amount that was left.
Okay,
So it just slowly dwindled down to
okay,
zero.
okay.
Basically, the legislators not understand the importance of these ad districts and how they help, rural counties, apply for grants and administrate grants and,
Some of them do, some of them don't. Yeah, we're constantly educating. That was, I'm starting my third year here, at this role, and that was really the initiative when I was brought in. The directors had done a comprehensive study and kind of a plan to move forward and to really start telling our stories for years, and rightfully so. The area development district stood behind you also, elected officials. You've got a project in your community, you've got the pat on the back and clap, and looking back on it, we should have been standing beside you instead of behind you. And so that's what we're transitioning to. Legislative one pagers, I don't think we have an example of those, but we collect data from aging and SEDS information into a legislative one pager. So it's a page that shows all of the activity within that particular legislative district. And those went out last year for the first time and this year the second time. And so we're really telling the story. We're really getting some attention. And I think, there are a few dark spots in there. There are a few legislators that have had over time, maybe a run-in with the director or don't feel like that things are getting done. But for the most part, we're moving the needle forward.
I can tell you in Trimble County alone, this group here, has helped Trimble County bring in about $2 million in 3 years, probably over that, in grant funding. So, if you need me to write a letter to anybody,
The thing is, when you see a legislator, if you have a relationship with a legislator, if you're talking to them, just remind them.
I've let Senator Tishner and Felicia Rayburn, Representative Rayburn both know, so.
Yeah, that's what it takes. It takes everybody telling the story. And so.
I'd just like to compliment Casey and Molly. They've really helped take the Frankfurt office moving forward. I'm currently chairing our statewide association and I'm on the phone multiple times a day with Casey. He's really dived in and learned our programs. He can speak very intelligently. He joins all our meetings with our commissioners, and I just really want to compliment the job that Casey's doing in Frankfurt. We're in good hands under his leadership.
Thank you, Jared. And I will say, Jared, as chair of the CAD board, has been very helpful and supportive to us, and he represents you all very well and the entire state very well. So you should be proud of it.
Okay. Well, Casey, thank you for coming today and appreciate your leadership when you was in the County Judges Association too.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, let me catch up here real quick. Agency audit update, Rita?
Sorry. LBMC was the only firm that submitted a proposal to us, for our audit services. They're the same firm that we currently use, from 2023 to 2025 audit. The contract is a 1-year contract with 2-year options. And so I would like to request to move forward with LBMC for our audit services. Sounded like a question.
Yeah.
Well, just a reminder, this is, we currently are under a 3-year cycle, so 3 years and then we send them back out to the RFP.
Yeah.
Is there a dollar amount public?
Yes, for year one, they said they charge us 47,000. And then I just say year 3, 51,550. There usually is a couple of other things that come up, but that's their base price right now. if they have to help us with any other additional things as we go along, which I'm not very upset that they're the only one, because we do have our new financial system, and they know our agency already. So it's easier for them to adjust to the new reports and the new information that we might provide to them. If we had a brand new company coming in, they're gonna probably struggle trying to figure out who we are and trying to understand the reports at the same time.
And also, I think it's important to remind that the auditor of public accounts has the first right of refusal for audits. So they've been going around the state, and I think at this point, we are the last ones remaining.
Yeah,
So that's gonna happen, and that'll just push out the 3 year, an extra year.
yeah.
Right.
Okay. I'll make the motion to accept your recommendation.
There you go. And that's a second by Judge Osborne. All in favor, like to sign aye. Opposed, same. Thank you, Frida.
Thank you.
Transportation Policy Committee, Andy.
Good afternoon. I'll have a few agenda items here, so we'll try to get right on through these. The KIPDA Transportation Policy Committee met here in this room at 12:30 this afternoon, so I will go over some of the highlights from that meeting. We had a guest speaker, Mr. Mikhail Pelfrey. Mikhail Pelfrey is the Director of the Division of Planning at the Transportation Cabinet. And Mikhail spoke to us about the NEVI program, the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program. That's the federally funded siting of various EV sites that meet certain criteria, oftentimes at gas stations, ironically, I guess, I don't know. Sometimes at hotels and elsewhere. Basically, KYPC and the other DOTs across the country are administering these programs and working with developers to get these sites selected, given certain criteria. Ducky's ahead of the game, ahead of many states on that. He's doing a good job on getting a few of those implemented. It might not seem like it, but they are slowly but surely coming online. One of the interesting notes that was notable from his presentation, he talked about the adoption of electric vehicles in the fleet that are registered in Kentucky. That number has doubled from between 2023 and 2025. So that number was accelerating. Perhaps it's no longer accelerating, given that the federal rebate program has since subsided. So more electric vehicles on the road. Remember, these sites are not so much in the urban area, but they are in the rural areas. It is, no more than 50 miles apart. Got to be a mile from the interstate or the parkways. And so again, Kentucky's doing a pretty good job, relatively speaking, for sure. We talked about our Unified Planning Work Program. That's another agenda item for this body here in a moment, but I'll skip that one. We announced, and just so everybody in this room knows, we formally announced our call for planning studies. Typically each fiscal year, we make some of our federal metropolitan planning funds, or our PL funds. You hear us talk about PL funds, available for local communities to pursue some of those dollars that KIPDA would award. This year, we're making $125,000 available. So probably room for one study this year. Last couple of years, we've been able to fund two. Perhaps we can fund two if there's two relatively small ones, or they get overmatched perhaps. But again, that will be open for the month of April. So remember, you can't do any capital improvements with it, but you can do planning, environmental analysis type stuff with that. Made an announcement once again, I'll make it right here, right now, about our federal certification review. Every 4 years, the large MPOs around the country have to get federally certified by Federal Highways Administration, Federal Transit Administration, and EPA. Ours is coming up on May 6th and May 7th. May 6th will be a full day here in the Burke Room at KIPDA. That is an assessment of the metropolitan planning process, not just of KIPDA, but of KIPDA and its planning partners, namely KIPDA, STARC, KYPC, and NDOT. So again, May 6th, we'll get their preliminary findings on May 7th. The evening of May 6th, we will be at a public hearing in St. Matthews, and we'll be making some announcements about that. It'll be over at the Ardmore over St. Matthews. Thank you, St. Matthews, for hosting us there. I think one more thing I'll mention is just another announcement and something that's pretty important, and what it's kind of sneaky important. That is our project management guidebook. You hear myself and the MPO staff talk about that. That's the rules of the road when you come to KIPDA and pursue these federal funds in the urban area. We're
we're updating that. We've had 2 meetings of 3. We'll have another meeting on morning of April 29th here at KIPDA. Mayor Black was at our first one, and I think you learned a lot that day. We did a brainstorming session that day, and we followed that up last week with a really productive meeting, getting that carryover balance. You hear me talk about the carryover balance, $140-something million that's carried over. These things that we have, these ideas that we have, and some of the feedback we've gotten so far, we've gotten a lot of buy-in on that. So one last meeting on April 29th. That concludes that report. And again, I'll have more information on the work program here in a subsequent agenda item.
I'll entertain a motion to accept Andy's report.
So moved.
Second,
Sorry.
second, all in favor, like sign aye. Opposed, same. Thought you were in trouble there for a minute, Andy. There's Andy, the streetlight contract update.
They didn't like something, they didn't like that.
All right, so these next 2 agenda items, we are on agenda items 10 and 11 in your packet. You will find these on page 39 in your packet, and it looks like Greg has it up on the screen. Greg or Paul or whoever's driving over there has it up on the screen. So let's first start with agenda item 10, streetlight data contract update. And again, for those of you who've been around for a while, you may know that what I'm talking about here has nothing to do with the lights that illuminate our roads for safety and other reasons. Streetlight is the name of a company that provides big data for us. KIPDA MPO, KYTC, many other organizations like us rely on a service such as theirs. They are the industry leader as far as we're concerned. Namely, what they provide is what's known as origin destination data. Where are trips starting and where are they going to? They've expanded their game and are incredibly helpful with providing us with big data that provides us with traffic counts. Those of you all probably remember, we used to be in the business of traffic counting in a pretty major way here at KIPDA. Tools like this that allow us to no longer need to do as many traffic counts. And so the origin destination data, the corridor studies, when somebody's studying a corridor in your area, we are regularly turned to by consultants and even by KYTC even, they've got their own subscription now for our use of that data, to do those queries with that data. It is an expensive agenda item, excuse me, an expensive budget item. For the last 3 years, we've been at a steady $130,000 a year dollar amount. We got a quote probably a few months ago, and it was in the 170 range. Thankfully, it's come down. It's come down a little bit, and right now we're at that dollar amount is in the you can see on the screen. It's 114 plus the 28.6. I think that's a 142,600 total. Again, everything's gone up, and this has gone up about I think 9%. This would lock us in for another 3-year agreement with Streetlight. Excuse me, lock in the price for 3 years. Every year we can come back and say yes or no to another year of this. So again, it's we just finished up a 3-year at 130, and they quoted us 142. We're getting a lot of the same stuff. Actually, they are offering up a little bit more, adding to their repertoire too. But again, I bring this for seeking your all's approval today. It is very much included in our work program budget, and it's something that we have budgeted for on the MPO side. And by the way, we have it's not just the 5 urban counties that we have the data for. We have it for all 9 counties of KIPDA. So it's a tool that we can use in the rural parts of the KIPDA region as well as needed.
What do they do in terms of studying? What are they studying? Where a light should go or shouldn't go?
When we do the queries using Streetlight or their data more generally?
Whatever you want to spend $142,000 for.
Well, the $142,000 gives us access to their platform. So we log into that and we create queries. We query the data, this origin destination data. They get their data. They used to get it through cell phones. Okay, so whether we liked it or not, they were getting some trip data through cell phones. They no longer get that, or that's being phased out. They're actually getting it through the fleet of connected vehicles. Okay, so our newer vehicles are connected vehicles, right? They're talking to satellites or whoever they're talking to. And so, you know, your OnStar is one example of that, for example. So to get that provides better trip data than when they're just tracking the digital cookie crumbs. I like to call it. When we're driving along, we've got some app open on our phone, we're dropping digital cookie crumbs saying where we've been, okay? And so it's not just a map app. So the story I like to tell is one of the things they said that believe it or not, one of the apps they get a lot of data for was Match.com. So on the dating apps, believe it or not, if they needed to know what location you are. So if you had that app on, you were dropping your digital cookie crumbs, but they don't longer use that or don't use it as much as our connected vehicles. And so start-stop ignitions, for example, give us trip ends, called trip ends, ENDS, end, so origins and destinations. So we query it, we put gates along the road. Mayor, if we're saying how many people are passing through LaGrange from I-71 interchange to north of the courthouse there, we would put a gate just north of I-71, a digital gate. We put one north of the courthouse there, and we say how many people are. We could answer certain questions about that. How many are passing through, or how many are, and then the remainder would be those that are perhaps stopping there.
So you don't put the rubber hoses on the road anymore?
KIPDA does not do any of that anymore. No,
Don't do it anymore?
no.
Right,
No.
you count traffic cars by what's coming in on your phone, huh? Trips.
Yes. These state, the other thing that this does too, they've got a robust, it's very essential for our traffic signals. Intersection turning movement counts. You know, how many right turns, how many throughs, how many lefts. That used to be very, very labor intensive. Somebody had to sit at the corner and start clicking a board and count it. Now these digital cookie crumbs, if you will, are basically do that for us, because that we used to only be able to do that for the peak hours. Now we can ask for all 24 hours just by running a query, and 30 minutes later, queries the big data on some server somewhere.
See, I'll see how they plan out, and I'll say, okay, I work on your quick, get put it in there, make this one.
Any other questions? I'd be happy to answer your questions. Be happy to share how we use it more and going forward.
We have done some, Andy did some during COVID, which was really interesting, showing the amount of vehicles that were on the road. So some of those are the projects that they did. But Mayor, you can also just think from a safety perspective, not having to have staff out there on the road laying those lines is it's a tremendous benefit.
Okay, I'll make a motion to spend $142,000.
You're good, man.
Okay.
About the satellite software,
Most of them.
that counts cars, fees,
Your tax dollars.
and all that.
There are other traffic counting devices, namely the company is known as Milevision. Milevision, and again, there's lots of innovation with traffic counting. The one that's used a lot is basically you put a camera on a fisheye camera on like a 10-foot pole, and it basically the speeds and the length of the vehicle's classification.
We're just, trying software, comes from satellite. And it can look at any street in the city and give you an idea of how many cars, what speeds, everything about, volume of traffic, any street.
Cool.
I haven't seen it done yet, but, we're just now getting into it.
You know, we have it interactive.
What?
That's your police department doing that, or?
Well, it's the city. Police are using it. Somebody comes in and wants to speed humps. Well,
You see how so?
well,
You allow them?
but you have to have a petition, has to be a certain percentage of the property owners. And we take a traffic study too, to see what the average speed is, how many go over, how many, and it's supposed to really be effective.
We know it works.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor by, Mayor Black. I have a second. You got a second by Judge Ogburn, to accept the streetlight, contract and proposal. All in favor? Aye. Like sign opposed. Thank you all. Andy, one more time. Well, maybe two more times.
For
Transportation.
time on this page, it's on the screen. We're on agenda item 11.
Okay,
Transportation business is limited to one contract. It's early in the contract season, if you will. I'm sure I'll be back at our next meeting in May with a few more. This first one is annual contract with KYTC from their transit office, known as the Office of Transportation Delivery. That's one of our funders, if you will. We get transit and federal transit and federal highways administration funding from both states. So it's like 4 buckets, each from each of our states. The KYPC, Office of Transportation Delivery, requires us to have what they call an authorizing resolution. So that's up up at your chairman's desk right now, pending this action, potential action here. This year, this is funding, this is coming in, not money going out like we were just talking about. That for many years, as long as I can remember, KIPDA requested and received 250,000 federal each year. This year, we are requesting a 10% increase at $275,000 for fiscal 27. Again, that goes toward the MPO planning and operations efforts there. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Andy? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution to extend this to the Kentucky Department of Transportation. And assign it.
Well, it's money coming in, I'll take it. I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Okay. I have a second by Mayor Pike. Yes, ma'am. All in favor, like sign?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you all. Andy,
One last time.
one more time.
So, speaking of money coming in and money going out, it is time that I come to you every year to talk about our Unified Planning Work Program, Unified UPWP. UPWP is basically the KIPDA MPO's budget. Talks about where all the money's coming from and where it's going to. So I think there we go. There's a QR code if you want to, but it's a big document. It's on our website. You'll be able to find it on our website. So I'll try to go quick. For those that were at the PPC meeting, this is a similar shortened presentation. Again, it talks about what we do as an MPO. Remember 5 urban counties, Bullitt, Jefferson, Oldham, Clark, and Florida. Where the money's coming from, one of those places it comes from is that authorizing resolution that we were just talking about, that 275,000. One of the places it goes is to buy subscriptions to data, et cetera, among many other reasons. Get updated every year. I had to submit the draft back in February. The final one is due in April. Okay. We're in the comment period right now. Federal Highways has not provided us the comments that I expect to receive. They always do. Don't have them yet. Have received comments from KYTC and NDOT. Perhaps there's more, but I think that should cover us once Federal Highways gets their comments, and perhaps FTA, Federal Transit Administration, as well. Since we're not having an April meeting, this puts us in a little bit of a different spot than usual. It's okay spot. What we talked about in TPC and Chairman Summers suggested that we've talked about it here in this meeting today, the board meeting today, is how we want to handle this. One way to handle it potentially is to we'll come back to you all in May at our next meeting and seek ratification of it. And provide it to the TPC members and to this group in April once we get those comments and all those things corrected. But without that April meeting, there's probably a couple different ways we can go here. But we can talk about that perhaps here in just a moment.
Absolutely.
That's what it looks like, but we don't need to worry about that too much about that. It's just a big budget document. But here, I've got the highlights here for you here. I think this is what matters most. Again, we've got one of those buckets that we get our PL dollars from Kentucky. We got a pretty nice increase this year of $60,000. Just like I mentioned in the last agenda item, we've got an increase by $25,000 in those Kentucky Section 5303 funds. Remember, that's from the FTA, Federal Transit Administration. Got a little bit of a decrease this year in Indiana, a little bit of a decrease last year for that matter in Indiana. There's some reshuffling with the formulas that goes to the urban areas in Indiana. And so our high water mark appears to have been in 2024, but there's no good reason to believe that we aren't going to be stable at this amount in Indiana going forward. No cause for alarm, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We are pursuing, and we may be one of one in Kentucky of this, Federal Transit Administration and Federal Highways Administration allows for certain amounts of your program if you're doing what's known as complete streets planning. Complete streets are those that have transit and bicycle trails and sidewalks and room for cars and walkers and all safe streets. We've got to commit that we're doing 2.5% of our efforts to that. We're doing way more than that, but it allows you to pursue some of the federal funds at an unmatched dollar amount. And so we've pursued that in Kentucky. We get the most of these funds as any NPO in Kentucky, of course, due to our size. And so it makes the most sense for us to give it a shot. So we did it in 2026, and we're gonna pursue that again in 2027, limiting the amount of match that's required. In the end, we're getting about 48,000 federal additional dollars per year. Overall, our budget's down a little bit, but that's deceiving. Our SS4A grant, remember that, those plans that we had, one that Safe Streets and Roads for All plan for every local agency, I think, in the room today. And the TARC Transit Center, those are required to be in there per FDA rules. So those were in there, they're not gonna be in the new one, because those are somewhat old news at this point. Indiana allows us to carry over some money. That's not in there anymore either. We're carrying over a little bit less, quite a bit less actually. So that lowers the amount that we have funding. And again, really importantly, our rideshare program, every commute counts. That's a regional van pool and rideshare program that KIPDA operates. It gets funds from the NPO, not the planning funds, but the capital funds from both Indiana side and Kentucky. We are basically cutting a little bit of funding from the Kentucky side, cutting it to meet our needs. It's not gonna, we're not cutting it any lower than what we need. But we're doing that because remember, those are the capital dollars. Any dollar that we don't commit toward that program is dollars that go right back into the bucket to the TPC, at least on the Kentucky side, to select projects and absorb certain cost increases and whatnot for the capital projects out there. So we think that it's a good win for the community. It's a reduction of about 250,000 if I'm not mistaken. So depends how you look at $250,000 more is in the bucket for everybody to pursue projects for. We got some money in there for those planning studies. I mentioned those earlier. KIPDA is also putting some money in there for some contract services, back to that project working group. We've got some ideas in there that may come to fruition here in fiscal 27. We've got a conservative estimate of what we're carrying over in Indiana. We cannot carry over Kentucky money at this moment. We have sought and gotten tacit approval so far by KYPC to change that rule, by the way. That would be a big win for us, meaning they would allow us to carry over our planning funds from fiscal year to fiscal year. That is not allowed right now in Kentucky, it only is in Indiana. So that I expect that to change by perhaps this time next year, perhaps sooner. And then again, that we had a larger dollar amount in there for streetlight. Their quote came down by quite a bit. And so that's the federal amount. Remember, I said 142 was the total, so it's only 114 federal. I'll skip this, and perhaps we can have the conversation now, Mr. Chairman, about how we want to handle the gratification, or how we'd like to handle this. I'm open to all suggestions, sir, for sure.
Well, I guess from where I sit and what I heard earlier today, it's that, take the comments in April and then bring them back to the board in May for ratification. That way we'll have the full, the full spectrum of the comments that we do need to move forward with it.
You have to do just that.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion to do that.
Make the motion to do that.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, John.
Yes, sir.
I can, okay,
They just don't wanna make emotions for it.
that's okay. And also, I got a second from Ms. Pikes.
Okay.
All in favor, like sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Okay, Felicia, can you follow all this?
I will be done in 1 minute,
All right,
not even a minute.
there you go.
So you will find 2 contracts on page 40. I am asking for approval for KIPDA to enter into an agreement with the Division of Emergency Management. This is for us to produce the hazard mitigation plan that expires at the end of the year. This will be from 2027 to 2032. That amount is $191,483.35. And the second contract is for the Cleaner Water Program. We are reallocating funds to the local water company. This is for the Harmony Village Road Water Extension Project, and this admin fee will be $6,870. So asking for approval for us, KIPDA, to enter into an agreement with these 2 contracts.
We'll let you reach your deadline, I don't think that's much.
Thank you.
There you go.
I'll second that.
We've got a motion and a second to approve Felicia's contracts with the emergency management and also with local water.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Like sign opposed. Thank you all. Okay. Ethan,
Thank you. I'm gonna give a brief, overview of what's going on in Frankfurt and what, happened in the Indiana General Assembly. I think we're going over some of the major stuff. So I won't duplicate what he said. Going through some of these bills. So, House Bill 757, that's the revenue bill. I just wanted to bring that to your attention because it does include a bunch of language on electric vehicles and, fees for those and the charging ports. Also like the Department of Agriculture would be the one inspecting those, is how they do gas pumps. But so that language is in 757. We're waiting for that to get reported out of the Senate Appropriations and Revenue Committee, but it was voted out of the House. House Bill 501, that's the Transportation Cabinet budget. There's a program, called the County Bridge Improvement Program. There is $24 million allocated. Well, there's about 48 million or so, over the biennium, for local bridges. So if you all have some, bridges that are in bad shape, this will be a good program to apply for. This is one I've looked into before where they have standardized drawings for the bridges, and it's a little hard to figure out what exactly to put together a budget and things like that. Like we have to, KYTC, I don't think will typically help us with putting together a budget. But it seems like it would be a worthwhile project to apply for if you have any bridges that are in rough shape. So that's in 501 Transportation Cabinet budget. 502, that's the 2-year road plan. We're waiting for that to get reported out of Senate Transportation. So currently in there's 740 million for Jefferson County, the total project. Oldham County, 139 million, Bullitt, 42 million, Shelby, 20 million, Henry, 6.5 million, Trimble, 5 million, Spencer, 2.5 million. Let's see, Joint Resolution 75, that's the 6-year plan. 76, that's the county priority projects. Both are waiting to get out of Senate Transportation, but both passed the House. Other bills of interest that you all brought up or just heard about is House Bill 7. It's the stop arm camera bill for school buses. That's one that passed both chambers, but it's going back to the House for concurrence. House Bill 9, that deals with regulatory license fees for alcoholic beverages and cannabis infused beverages. That's House Bill 9 that passed out of the House for the committee sub, and it's going to the Senate. Senate Bill 28, that's the bill that prohibits phone usage while you're driving. That's in House Transportation, so it passed out of the Senate. 647, that's the grant program bill. As Casey said, there's no funding tied to that yet. But what this does is it moves the sunset date out to the end of 2028. It adds language that applications must be submitted within 90 days of the federal application. Funds cannot remain obligated for more than 12 months, but you can ask for a 12-month extension if necessary. Also in the bill, the local match requirements would double on the local side. Senate Bill 223, that is also dealing with cannabis infused beverages. I guess currently they can only be sold at liquor stores. This allows them to be expanded to bars and restaurants and fairs as well. So that's passed the Senate and it's now in the House for consideration. The local jails bill is 557. That one hasn't moved. It's still in House A&R since February. And so, as Casey said, the last day of session, they have to be out of here by April 15th. So that's that's the Kentucky update. For Indiana, there was a couple of major bills that were passed. They've already adjourned, signed, and died. There was over 160 bills that were sent to the governor. One of the major bills was House Bill 1001. That was a major housing bill that was passed this year. There's a few big items in there. There was like some language in there preempting local planning and zoning. There were some issues with that language in section 19 of the bill. From what I could tell, it looked like a lot of that language was removed by the end of session. There was also some language regarding impact fees, and there were also some additional reporting requirements that would be, necessary for local units. So that was signed by the governor on March 4th. House Bill 1210, that's a local income tax, bill. There were some changes in the final version. They removed the 7,000 population cap. So any community with population of 3,500 can join a county and pass a countywide lit rate. And then, let's see. If you end up not readopting a lit rate, there's some mechanics in there to make sure that all like debt service would still be able to be paid if you didn't readopt that rate. So that passed and was signed by the governor on March 12th. There was also a bill regarding municipal elections, but that did not pass. It failed, but it is the bill that you might be able to, you might see in the future. It would give all cities and towns the option to adopt an ordinance that would move from municipal elections to the presidential election cycle. The bill changed the House to have required all towns under 10,000 to move into a presidential election, so while all over 10,000 would have the option to opt out, and then cities would be able to opt in. It was a little confusing, maybe myself, but it didn't pass, but that's something you might see in the future. So those are my legislative updates.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hazard mitigation plan, the update, Ryan?
All right, thank you, sir. Yeah, quick update on the hazard mitigation plan. As you all just heard Felicia mention, we're working on updating our 2021 plan to our 2026 hazard mitigation plan. I've been meeting individually with our water and wastewater system operators over the last several weeks to collect status updates on 2021 mitigation actions and projects, as well as to collect information on new items or potential projects that they would want to put in the 2026 HMP. Additionally, a hazard mitigation committee comprised mostly of county emergency managers and our judge executives will meet on Monday, April 27th, from 10 a.m. to noon here at our KIPDA office. This meeting is intended to be a deep dive into the 2021 mitigation actions from the perspective of our counties and our local government officials. Similarly to the meetings that I've had with our water and wastewater systems so far, the intent would be to provide status updates on those mitigation projects that were in the 2021 plan. And we will also sort of brainstorm to put some priority projects into our 2026 plan and make sure that our communities remain eligible for flood mitigation assistance funding, hazard mitigation assistance funding, any of those FEMA funding sources. So if anyone would like to meet with me regarding HMP updates or project priorities outside of this meeting coming up, please feel free to reach out. My email is Ryan, RYAN.Lloyd, LLOYD @KIPDA.org. And then likewise, if there's municipal officials outside of our county PMs or judge executives that would like to come to this meeting, you are more than welcome to do so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that does it for my HRP. Update.
Thank you, Ryan. Also, you're up again, April Regional Water Council and Regional Planning Council meetings.
Yeah, this is more of just an update on our regularly scheduled regional planning council meeting. Our next regional planning council meeting will take place on Tuesday, April 14th from 11 a.m. to noon here at our KIPDA office and via Zoom. The agenda for this meeting will not include a guest speaker. Instead, it will actually be again on the HMP. So this will be to discuss these same HMP items basically with our planning officials as opposed to with our county emergency managers. Also, yes, the Justin's Regional Water Management Council meeting will follow that meeting on the same date, April 14th. It will be at 1:30.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for Ryan? Ryan, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Senior Nutrition Program update, Jessica.
No, we're good. How's everybody today?
Good.
First of all, I'd like to say again, thank you all to all of you in the room and Casey and their team and the ad directors for all the advocacy you've been doing for the senior nutrition program. You know, it's been a hot topic since September. I won't run through all of the numbers again for you since Casey's already done that for you and you kind of know where we stand. I do want to talk to you a little bit about how each scenario would affect the clients that we serve. So for instance, in February, we served a little over 1,200 clients in our home delivered meals program. Please note that we are also going through seed procurement right now for our caterer and our meal delivery services, which I can't dive too deeply in about. So we're in the middle of it. Trisha's gonna present to you here in a minute, the potential caterer, providers, and then we'll work through the other part of it. But we do know our costs are going to increase there. I mean, it's a given in the world we live in. Our meal providers have pretty much held steady their numbers for the past 4 years. So we kind of anticipated that. As you know, we have looked at our staffing internally too, as we've moved through this and we've, cut that down quite a bit as well. So we always look internal before we look external. Using that 9.6 number, so the 10 million that's in the regular line item budget, minus the 4% the first year, we would look at cutting over 600 people from our C2 meal delivery program. If that 9.6 gets approved in addition to the 9.1 and it's roughly distributed the same way that funds have been distributed, we're still looking at cutting individuals from the program due to the cost increase and the reduction in that budget. However, it becomes a little bit easier to manage, and I know there's no easy in this realm. But we would look at not replacing people as they came off the rosters going into the first year and into the second year. So that we may end up with, instead of like 1,260 where we are right now, if we needed to be at 1,000, instead of replacing people as they come off the program for any reason, we wouldn't replace that person. And then if we had to look at any additional cuts, we would. The other thing is in our C1 congregate program, we're a little more fortunate on that side because it has been managed out there by the providers. And we don't think that that's gonna have as much of an impact. But with both of those said, it also means that over the course of the next 2 years, despite what happens, everything from here on out is waitlisted. Because we are only talking about, and we've only asked, to be able to maintain what we're currently doing out there now. So I think that's a very important point to be made as well. We are asking for the funds to maintain what we are doing right now over the course of the next 2 years. Here at KIPDA, for instance, for the last quarter of the year, plus this month, we anticipate that there's gonna be another 250 eligible people that call us for services. You know, where do we go with that? How do we manage that? Yeah, as you know, we will always look at ways to reduce our costs and make ourselves more efficient and productive. But this will continue to be part of our conversation in the years coming, so. I just wanted y'all to have a visual on that. I didn't bring my whiteboard, but just kind of wanted to talk to you about, we want to keep doing what we're doing now. And your advocacy efforts are helping to do that, so our providers are aware as well. You know, sent word to all of our providers, you know, here's how many days are left in the session. We and our partners across the state have been advocating, your story's been told. We've demonstrated it several different ways. If you so choose, please do so yourself as well, those type of things, so.
There you go.
Happy day, y'all. Yeah, we continue to serve as best we possibly can, as you all well know, with your support. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? Jessica, thank you for all that you do for our seniors.
Oh, thank you, sir. It's a team effort, all of us together. We appreciate you too. Thank you.
The waiver program update, Amber,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon.
Just a quick update about our waiver programs here at KIPDA. KIPDA provides the case management for participants of those waiver programs and the financial management of those funds so that participants can run those services. These waivers are designed to help individuals with disabilities to include any age and remain in their homes instead of long-term care nursing facilities. KIPDA, we serve two waivers, the home and community-based waiver and the Michelle P. waiver. The home and community-based waiver provides assistance to older adults and children with physical disabilities to help them live in the community as independently as possible. The Michelle P. waiver provides assistance to individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities to help them live in the community as independently as possible. These services include homemaking, community living supports, respite, non-specialized respite, goods and services, home adaptations, and many other supports. Currently, we have 11 case managers, 2 plan and care specialists, and we are serving 197 home and community-based waiver participants, 17 home and community-based traditional participants, and 109 Michelle P. waiver participants. Do you have any questions?
Questions? No questions. Very good. Thank you. Meal preparation contract, Trish.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So like, Jessica said, we are completing our procurement for the meals program. The bill delivery contract is still currently in procurement, so we can't talk anything about, that one. We're reviewing applications at this time, but we're able to complete the meal preparation, review and, I've taken it to the advisory council and then have a recommendation for a contract award for you to consider today. We did have 4 applicants for this. One was not compliant with RFP requirements, so we can move forward with 3. We can have dual awards out of this. It doesn't just have to be to one provider. So the review committee has recommended award to 2 providers. Which happen to actually still be the providers we're using currently, which is Masterson's Food and Drink and also Jewish Community of Louisville. So Jewish Community of Louisville is going to serve a traditional hot meal for their congregate. They do frozen, home delivered. They are in a smaller section of Louisville where there's a demand for those meals, the kosher, pescatarian, and vegetarian meals. And then Masterson's is going to take care of all of the rest of the KIPDA region, doing the frozen meals for congregate. They're heated up there in the facilities as they have been since COVID started. And then the fat pack home delivered meals. But like Jessica mentioned, there was a slight price increase. Overall though, considering that they held their prices steady for 4 years, Masterson's came in with a 6% increase. So I think that is relatively good. The increases for JCL were a bit more significant, but they were quite a bit lower in their prices. And they are now more in line with kind of what Masterson's is charging to, and still a little bit lower, sorry. So with that in mind, Masterson's is going to be like $7.20 per meal. They do offer a direct to client delivery service in the event that the meal delivery provider is not able to do it. We do have occasions where they're not able to get out to an area, so Masterson's would then be able to handle that direct delivery. So that would be $9.15 per meal. JCL is at $6.63 for a congregate, $7.23 for a frozen, and $6.50 for a shelf-stable meal, and those prices are all before match. Do you want to have any questions about those? We can get approval for the contract awards.
Very good.
Motion to approve the meals with, you got 2 different vendors?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Masters and then one of them and someone else.
JCL.
Yes, ma'am. Make the motion.
I have a second from Mayor Pike. All in favor, like sign aye to approve the congregate meals.
Thank you.
Opposed, same. Thank you. You're welcome. Trish, again, meal delivery contract.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So as
ma'am.
I was saying, we are still, evaluating the meal delivery applications. And kind of like Andy talked about, we're not going to have a board meeting here in April.
Right.
We would like to be able to go ahead and proceed with a, contract award if we get to that, rather than waiting until May. So we're requesting that we would be able to take those recommendations to the, executive committee for award and then bring it back to the board for ratification in May.
I need a motion to approve
The
Trish.
executive
Trish.
committee will approve the award.
Absolutely. Thank you, Trish. Second. Second by Osborne, first by Mayor Pike. All in favor, like sign aye. Those opposed, the same. Thank you, Trish.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Jessica. Managed IT services update, Jennifer.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Shortly after last month's board meeting, we met with Duplicator Sales to start planning our transition to managed services. The plan encompasses 4 areas, endpoint security, on-site and cloud backup, equipment upgrades for increased cybersecurity protection and next generation protection for remote users when accessing local network resources and other internet activity. First, we installed software on all our computers, which allows them to be seen from a central dashboard where many things can be monitored, including memory and storage usage, installed software, antivirus activity, critical performance markers, and suspicious activity. Next, we moved our backups to a cloud service and a new on-site backup device. This will allow for recovery in a matter of hours in the event of a major equipment failure. Tomorrow, we will replace our firewall switches and access points with updated equipment that can be managed centrally. It, excuse me, and will take us to a new level of cybersecurity protection. Finally, next week, we will roll out something called SASE, which stands for Secure Access Service Edge. This will extend our network security outside of this building to our remote access local network files by using a protocol that is always on. During April, we will ask our users to begin using Duplicator's help desk for their support issues. This will allow Paul to begin taking on my remaining responsibilities, and it will allow me to step back and finish a couple of projects before I leave. Overall, I'm very happy with the choice we made, and I think this is a solution that's going to work well for KIPDA and for the staff. No action is needed. This was just an update on our progress.
As you can see, Jennifer has worked tirelessly to make sure that she leaves us in a good position and this transition is seamless. And this, don't strangle me for it, but this is Jennifer's last board meeting, so I just really want to recognize her effort and her tenure.
Thank you, Jennifer. Intergovernmental reviews, Jared.
We only have one intergovernmental review this month. It's for the Eminence wastewater treatment plant expansion. This has been sent out to Henry County for comment. No comments were received. It was approved. So action is requested to accept this intergovernmental review.
I'll put that in the form of a motion. Got a second by Judge Black.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
All in favor, like sign aye.
Mayor.
I'm sorry. You're running for judge, all right? No?
Yes.
There you go. It's okay.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I apologize. Okay, all in favor, like sign aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Thank you, Jared. Executive Director's report.
First, I just want to have the record reflect that Mayor Byron Chapman did join remotely, so he was not present during roll call, so just for the record, reflect that. I'd like to recognize some of our guests today. I will start with James Vickery with Congressman Guthrie's office. James.
Mr. Director, Mr. Chairman, I'd start with saying it's a privilege I'd like for everyone to remember the family of Technical Sergeant Amy Pruitt, who passed away earlier this month in Operation Epic Fury. Unfortunately, Cameron Pruitt's family, our parents are members of the region because they reside in Bullitt County. So please pray for our soldiers who are going through this and remember their loved ones. So now transitioning to the report. We did accept all the applications for the appropriations for FY 27. I would like to commend the KIPDA team here specifically that was leadership of Andy, Felicia, and Jared. We got together right after this meeting last month. We had a very short suspense. And the projects that they produced were immaculate. They were well put together, and it really helped us present to the congressman companies that he can move forward to with the appropriations team. It was also really nice to see that there was a moment when I talked to Andy about some road projects and almost verbatim for Jefferson County, almost verbatim what I got from Public Works Director and Metro Louisville, West Center, word for word. So it's really nice that you guys are on the same page like that. It helps us move forward. So those are going forward if you put in anything for those appropriations. Don't forget, there are competitive grants that you can go forward with as well. We highly encourage you to do so. So I'll end by giving you one that is falling under the Burn JAG local formulary. That's a top grant, so it's intended for local law enforcement. The applications for those are due, search supergrants.gov, but they are due on April 21st. There's a pretty wide range of things that you can apply for under local law enforcement to support you. The award maximum for that in this round is just over $4 million. So we highly encourage you to do so, work with KIPDA to get those applications in, and we will be happy to provide any letters of support for our constituency as they submit those from the congressman. So if any questions, that's the end of my report.
Thank you, James. Heidi Riedebuck with Senator McConnell.
Good afternoon, everyone. I sharing Senator McConnell's condolences for the loss of Sergeant Benjamin Peddington and Technical Sergeant Ashley Pruitt. I know everyone in this room can join us in saying our continued prayers for their communities and our troops in the Middle East. I want to move on to talk about congressionally directed spending. So our office's deadline for CDS funding request is Monday, March 30th. I know I've been in touch with many of you about these, but I appreciate your help as I know questions have been coming through last minute. So moving on to share that our office is always here to assist with passport problems to the VA and casework issues. So thank you guys for all your work on behalf of the region. That's all from me.
Thanks, Heidi. And we're also joined by Stacey Rockaway with Congressman Massey's office.
Thank you all very much. And obviously Congressman Massey would also like to extend his condolences to the family of Tech Sergeant Ashley Pruitt. I think her family was actually, or she was actually from the Bardstown area, which is part of District 4 and District 2. And the Congressman is praying for a quick and successful end to the war. Just really quick things. He thinks that it's possible for everybody to get together on the VHS funding. There are places where the Democrats and Republicans, believe it or not, actually do agree. And he thinks that it's possible to get a bill going on that and get it passed. And then, AI centers. Not 100% sure how this is gonna go over, but he is fighting up there to make sure that we don't have one size fits all legislation across the country for AI centers, so that the states and the local communities can set what they want, or whether they want them big, that type of thing. And he actually just, there was a bill that was going through that was going to change the environmental regulations for AI centers. And he said, if those regulations are too onerous, don't just need them for the AI centers, change them for everybody. So that bill was actually pulled, but he was planning to vote against it because, again, he would rather the local communities and the states be able to regulate those as they see fit, as opposed to a nationwide level. And I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stacey. I'll move to travel items. We do have 4 travel items. They're in your packet on page 42. The first is the Kentucky Association for Economic Development Collaboration Conference. This is in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, April 23rd to the 24th, with one staff member attending, Ethan. The next is the Southeastern Area Agency on Aging, board meeting, of which, Jessica serves on the board. This is June 17th through 20th in Greenville, South Carolina. And the next two items are both for the U.S. Aging Annual Conference, July 17th to July 21st in San Diego, with two attendees, Beth Mathis and Jessica Elkins. So, board action, if you all see fit to approve these travel items.
Motion approved.
Second.
Got a motion, all in favor, like sign aye. Opposed, same. There you go, Jared.
Thank you. And as has been mentioned a few times through the meeting, we are taking next month off from our traditional April meeting. So no board meeting, no transportation policy committee meeting, but we will be having, as Ryan said earlier, the Regional Planning Council, April 14th at 1 o'clock, or excuse me, at 11 o'clock that morning. And then the Regional Water Management Council that afternoon at 1:30. And then we will be back to our regular schedule in May with the Transportation Technical Coordinating meeting on May 13th at 1 p.m. here in the Burke Room. And then on May 28th, we will have the Regional Transportation Council meeting next door at 1 o'clock. The Transportation Policy Committee will be in this room at 12:30, and then immediately following will be the April KIPDA Board of Directors meeting at 2 o'clock. But this concludes my report. Thank you all for being here on such a lovely day, here in person and on screen. I know we have some people that are on vacation that still took the time out of their schedule to join us. So thank you all for allowing us to conduct business today. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Jared. And
I have a
Go ahead.
request, please.
sure,
Commissioner Bobby Joe Lewis,
uh-huh,
that's over the road and municipal road program, is in Florida with her mother. She's in ICU. So I'll share that with you all and ask you to keep her in your thoughts and prayers.
thank you, Ted. Yes, sir. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
this is Scott Travis. I've been thinking about you yourself, with the loss in your family, and, very sorry. And, anyway, thoughts and prayers are with you, good friend.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. At this time, though, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
No move.
All in favor, like sign aye. Those opposed, thank you. All have a blessed day.